There's no key.
All right, Rose, listen. You're gonna have to go find some help. I'll just wait here.
I'll just wait here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel where I talk about movies. Today I'm going to be talking about one of the greatest movies ever made, Titanic. And I'm not joking when I say that. I literally have the proof to back it up. I mean, to this day, Titanic is tied with two other movies for the movie that has won the most amount of Oscars. It has won 11 Oscars and it is tied with Ben-Hur and Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Okay? So it's one of the greatest movies ever made. I mean, that is a fact. And I just recently watched this movie with my sister because she's never seen it. And as I was watching the movie again, I was like, this is a perfect movie. I mean, please comment down below if you see any flaws in this movie. When you're doing a movie review, there's only so many things you can talk about, right? Like, there's the acting, the story, directing, special effects, soundtrack. That's about it, right? I mean, like, there's only so many things you can talk about a movie. And out of those 5 things, they're all perfect. I mean, let's go through them. The soundtrack, I mean, for God's sakes, this is what took Celine Dion into stardom. Yeah, I know I'm not winning a Grammy anytime soon, but the point that I'm trying to make is the soundtrack is amazing. Let's move on to the special effects. Amazing, dude. I mean, for the time period that it was made, the special effects still hold up to this day. Now, I will say this, there was a couple scenes where you do kind of notice the CGI is not that great. Like, for example, when they try to do like a zooming out bird's eye view of the deck of the Titanic, you can kind of tell it's computer generated and they're not real people, and it was kind of like, I noticed that. But aside from that, I mean, when the ship is sinking and then breaks in half and falls on the water, that is an amazing scene. And then all the scenes inside the ship as the ship is sinking and the water is coming in, the practical effects, the sets, visually this movie holds up and it's still visually great. All right, so let's move on to the directing. I mean, it's directed by James Cameron, one of the GOATs in directing. I mean, you got Steven Spielberg, you got Quentin Tarantino, you got James Cameron right up there too. I mean, look at this guy's track record, for God's sake. Aliens, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Avatar. Like, God damn it, this guy is one of the greatest. And to me, Titanic is his masterpiece, because yes, Avatar broke records, but as I watch that movie, I'm just like, it's all right, it's entertaining, but Titanic is just such a piece of art. It's so magnificent. And not only did he direct it, he also wrote it and produced it, okay? I mean, this was his vision, and he did a masterfully good job of transferring that vision into a piece of art. I mean, that was phenomenal. And it's hard for me to talk about how good of a director James Cameron is without going into the story. So let's go ahead and move on to the story, because that's really where you're gonna see how talented of a director James Cameron is. All right, storyline breakdown. Okay, what's awesome about this movie, there's not just one storyline. There's literally 3 stories going on at the same time. And to me, the way James Cameron intertwines those stories and makes them work and come all together in the end, that's when you truly see the talent of James Cameron, okay? Because yes, the movie is about Titanic, the ship that sunk, but really the movie is about the relationship between Jack and Rose. But also, there's this other story about these people trying to find a diamond, and they're all interconnected, right? Because the best story is between Jack and Rose, but they don't care about that. They just care about the diamond, but Rose is connected to them because she has the diamond. And obviously, they think the diamond is on the Titanic, which is where they were on and sunk. So everything is connected, and then obviously the way it comes together in the end, awesome. I mean, let's talk about the diamond, right? This is a subplot in the movie. It's not the most important thing in the movie, but it does make its appearances here and there, and it stays consistently throughout the movie. And I think it sews everything together very nicely, because in the beginning of the movie, you know these guys are looking for the diamond. They think it's on the Titanic. We don't know where it is. We're assuming it's on the Titanic, and then obviously it makes its appearances here and there in the movie. And this scene is fantastic with this guy where he's like, I put the diamond in the coat. I put the coat on her!
I put the diamond in the coat. And I put the coat on her!
And then we find out that she has the diamond at the end, and she still has it, and then she puts it back in, they never find it. It's like, stuff like that, little stuff like that makes James Cameron great. And it's funny that it's a story about a real event that happened in history, But the real story about the movie is a fake story that never happened. But the way that he constructs the script and the screenplay is great because you can never prove that those people were there or weren't there because, right, like, they say there's no records of Jack or Rose and all these people. Why do you think that is? Jack should have never been on the ship, remember? He won that card game against the guy that should have been on the ship. I mean, remember this scene? So of course there's no records of Jack. He should have been on there in the first place. And then Rose at the end of the movie, because she hates those millionaire pieces of shit, she takes Jack's name when they're asking for everybody's name and she gives the name Rose Dawson, which is not her real name. So obviously there's no records of her either. And the last name Dawson was never there because DiCaprio was never supposed to be there. James Cameron, I'd take my f***ing hat off to you, bro. That was awesome. All right, and let's finally talk about the number one thing in this movie, the acting. Dude, Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. Need I say more? Need I say more? You guys know Leo is my favorite actor. DiCaprio is my all-time favorite. So obviously anything I say is biased, and I want you to know that. Because literally any movie he's in, I'm gonna be like, he was a great actor, his performance was great. So just take me with a grain of salt, but god damn it, it was a f***ing amazing performance. I stand by that to this day. And Kate Winslet won the Oscar for Best Actress, for God's sakes. And it's hard to use the Oscars as my point because I often disagree with the Oscars a lot of the times. For example, I thought DiCaprio should have won Best Actor. But aside from that, so the two main performances in this film are second to none. I mean, DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, A+ performances. And there's so many great moments in this film. Like, for example, when Rose finds Jack and he's all like handcuffed to the bar. And she's all like, don't worry, I'm gonna go find the keys, I'll be right back. And he's all like handcuffed to the goddamn thing and he's just like, I'll just wait here. Or the scene when Rose comes back with a big ass axe and then he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's practice first. Hit that wooden cabinet. Okay, now try to hit that same spot.
Okay, it's enough practice.
But all in all, the performances were amazing. And like I said before, this is a perfect movie. Please comment down below a flaw that you noticed in this movie because I have 0 flaws. So all in all, I'm giving Titanic an A+. If I could give it more, I would. This is absolutely one of the greatest films of all time. It has to be top 5, top 10. And before I end the review, I do want to point out this one thing. A lot of people that review movies wouldn't point out stuff like this. I took a photography class in high school, so little things like this I notice and I appreciate. So I'll go ahead and tell you guys. This scene when Rose and Jack are separated and she's on the boat getting lowered as she's looking at Jack, who's still on the Titanic, is one of the greatest shots I've seen. And let me explain why. One, there's flares shooting up in the background that makes it kind of look like fireworks and makes it super romantic. Second, Leo's in focus, but the background is blurred. That's a great effect in photography to really give that focus to the person in the shot. And it cuts back and forth between the both of them looking at each other and then she jumps. Oh, it was just a great moment and I think that shot, so well done, and I just appreciate it. So I just want to say thank you to James Cameron. Thank you for this piece of art. Thank you, Leo, Kate Winslet. I was crying in this movie. I don't cry in movies, okay? Well, Marley and me. However, it's a great film. If you haven't seen it, it's not a if you're gonna watch this movie, it's when are you gonna watch this movie, because you have, before you leave this planet, you have to watch that movie. It's in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the description below. But as always, let me know what you think were the flaws in this movie. Did you see Titanic? Do you like it? Do you think it's one of the greatest movies ever made? Leave it down in the comments and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.